Okay, Rick, James Parker. Thank you for coming in and seeing me for your swing evaluation today, mate. I appreciate it. This is going to be just a short little video, just explaining what we worked on and things that we talked about, so that you've got it for your reference. So let's first talk about what we were observing, right? What the shot pattern was. Now, I was pretty, and I got you to go through your clubs from your wedge, I think we start with your 9-iron all the way through to your driver, and you were generally hitting two types of shot, right? The first type of shot was one which started left and just faded a little bit and maybe landed somewhere near the target here, maybe stopped a bit short of it this side, or maybe just a little bit this side. The second type of shot was the shot which started left again but really curved a lot. So the first one with a little curve would be a pull fade. The second one would be a pull slice. Okay. Either way, both of those shot patterns are starting left, right? So the diagnosis, if we stop you just before impact, right, and this is what I showed you to start with, you can see how. Now, don't forget, when we set up to it, we've got the red line going through the club, and we've got another red line going through your elbow, right? We want to, just to give you an idea, we want to go back and come down between those two red lines. That's called in the slot, right? You can see as you're coming down, you're well over the top of it, which means your path is coming out to in, right? You're coming across it. You're coming out to in. So your path is going to the left, and your club face is going to be a little bit open to that path as well, and that's what causes the curve on it. Okay, so that's the diagnosis. So it's really a path problem. Okay. The second thing was a few of the shots, not particularly at the start of the session, you were hitting a lot of fat shots, right? And that's when the club hits the ground first and then the ball, right? We want to hit the ball first and then the ground. The divot should be after the ball, but you can see through impact there, or just before impact, just how low to the ground the club head is, right? So the club head here is already pretty much about to make contact with the ground, and you're 4 inches behind the ball, 5 inches behind the ball, right? So that tells me we've got a low point problem as well, right? So the basis of the lesson and the things that we worked on are all going to revolve around making those two things better, right? We're gonna need to attack the ball more from the inside, so you're not cutting across it, so the path isn't out to in, and also we need to get our weight forward and our hands forward so that we can work on hitting the ground after the ball, not hitting the ground before the ball. Okay. So what sort of changes need to take place to alter the shot pattern? Well, if we start with low point, right? So if we stop there, right, and then we get you, I think we used Mako Grady, didn't we, as the model? So if we get some lines by his hips. Now, as he comes down, I want you to watch where his hips are going, right? And most of all, right, how he's able to hit the ball first and then take the divot look. So it's ball, then divot. And look where his hands are at that point, right? So his hands are pretty much right underneath his left shoulder. And also look at all this space that is created from his right pocket. Right, so his hips are moving this way towards the target. Okay. whereas we've only got just like a tiny little bit of space there, right? So if we look at what's going on in the backswing, you can see as you go back how you're creating space here, right? And you look at the pros, and they actually start, if the objective is to move the hips towards the target, well, we want to start doing that in the backswing, right? We want to start doing that in the backswing. And you can see as he gets to the top of the swing here, how he's created just a little bit of space in there by his right pocket, right? So you're doing the opposite. You're moving your hips away from the target. He's already moving his hips towards the target. So therefore, if you make a better backswing like that, then you've got a better chance of coming down and getting to impact better, right? So you can see there at impact how he's got the center of his hips more over his left foot, whereas you've got the center of your hips more sort of in the middle, right? And you can really tell this post impact, right? Because when we stop you, when your arm's parallel with the ground, and we look at where your right pocket is, your right pocket's still there. You look at where his right pocket is, his right pocket is right over his left foot, all right? So that's all that is with regards to moving your weight forward. So, you know, that's your little drill, that's your little exercise. So that was what it looked like at the start, and then with your drill, we actually made a much better pass at it, right? So that's your backswing at the start of the session, and this is your backswing at the towards the end of the session, right? So you can see not only is the turns better, we're going to talk about that in a second, but look at the difference in how the lower body functions, right? The lower body's functioning a lot better. That right leg's straightening, the left leg's flexing, and now you're actually making a little bit of space in there, right in here, just like where you see the pros. So that's much better, mate, much better. And then as you start down, then you've got more chance. Now look how well you get onto that left leg. Now look how well you're sitting into that left leg. And then you get your right pocket next to that front red line, right? So now you look like a golfer, that one on the left side. This one, not so much, all right? So that's really good. So you got to get used to the hips being over the left foot when you hit it. You have to be there when you hit it at impact, okay? Now let's talk about... and I think we pulled up Mac, didn't we, at the start? Right, so we'll do this again. And what we did was we stopped you at P2 and drew a line. We stopped him at P2 and we drew a line through the shoulders. Right, so he's got a little bit more turn there, but you know, it's not really that evident there, right? But then we stop you at P3. And we stop him at P3. Right, so big difference in the shoulder turn there. And then we stop you at P4. Stop him at P4. There you go. Right. So what we did was, you know, we not only talked about the function of the lower body, how the right leg has to straighten, the left leg has to flex. What we also did, let me pull your swing up a second. What we also did was we also talked about how you want to get your chest facing the target, facing away from the target, right? So here you can see, because your shoulders are only here and your chest is pointing down that way. Right, here your chest is facing away from the target, so that's much better. So this angle is more up and down, right, as you've turned. So that's really good. I thought you did that really well. So that was tremendous. Now let's get your swing up from So this was your swing with regards to the setup, right? What we changed in the setup. So, you know, we said, right, well, you're coming across the ball, you're coming across it this way, having your shoulders point to the left and your forearms point to the left at setup is doing you no favors at all, right? So what we did was we got you a feeling of getting the shoulders square and your forearms a lot more square, right? By just tinkering around with your grip a little bit, you tended to wrap that right hand over, which kind of makes your right forearm come on top of your left one a bit too much. But that's much better, the one on the right side there, right? So you can see as we're going back, and it's better with the function, right? There you go. Right, so if we drew some lines through these clubs, one through the club, one through the elbow, one through the club, one through the elbow, and we know that we're going up above it and then coming down above it, right? We'll stop there, maybe halfway back, and then with the better setup, you see how your hands are moving more inward now, right? So the left arm's a bit more inward at P2, left arm's more inward at P3 here, right? Whereas your arm's kind of just straight there, right? And you can see the angle of the shaft. The shaft's going through your shoulder, whereas over here it's kind of just going slightly underneath your shoulder. There you go. That's much better. So then with a better turn, you've actually got your hands on that top red line now. Look, you see, you got your hands on that top red line with a better turn. Well, from that position, you've got much more chance of the club coming down between these two red lines and getting the club in the slot, so that you attack the ball from the inside rather than no turn to get up to the top and then coming down over the top of that red line and coming across the ball, right? So, the making sure that your lower body functions better, right leg straight and turn your toes out like we said, and your knees go out over your toes, just like you're sitting on a horse, and then allowing that right leg to straighten and that left leg to flex, so that you've got better lower body functionality, so that your hips turn better and your right hip turns a little higher than your left. That's then going to free your upper body up to turn easier, right? So that's a much better position there, mate. So that's tremendous. So just go away and practice that for a little bit. If you have any questions, by all means, just shoot me over an email. Thanks, Rick.